Hey folks, welcome to the channel. Want to do a quick job site tour here and show a few things that we do on job sites here, paver jobs especially, to make them as efficient as we can be without a tilt rotator. So that being said, we have some rain coming this weekend. We wanted to really try to get base installed while we got really dry, nice workable conditions. We got our excavation done. This pin here represents top of paver. Oh my gosh, my back. That pin represents top of paver, so it gives a little benchmark to run off of. But we just roughed all this in. Got our subsoils compacted. This woven geotextile fabric here just gives some added strength. In those soils, when it was a little gummy, we added some 57 in there, compacted that in, adds bearing capacity to the soil. If that doesn't work, you need to dig that junk out or add larger stone. If that doesn't work, you gotta get it out of there. But keep adding stone and beating it in place with either a jumping jack compactor or a really big reversible plate. This patio here is a real cool setup here. It's this upper area and then steps down to a lower fire pit, 12 inches total. Bo's checking things out here. We got our materials staged while we had the big skid steer here. Now they can just pull off of these with our pneumatic lifters and then whatever else is left with the ditch witch, because it'll be hanging out here on site. So just want to get things good and staged, ready to go. And when we get material next week, we'll be ready to rock and roll. Although I suppose, Bo, you could actually probably set this lower section up and get your fire pit going. I guess you could. Yeah. Whatever, but we're ready to go. And fortunately this way, if we build plywood highway, we can work around this thing if it's really muddy and nasty and it's our only option. That being said, we're doing a bunch of pop-up drains around the property here, little weeper pit below that. That's of course going to get stubbed off below, well, not below grade, but at grade. You want to call utility protection services so they mark out your gas lines and electric and all that stuff. Mr. Keith laying out plants here, doing a fine job, as he always do. We've got Auman here, a service barrier going in there, so some boxwood. Keith, are those phlox? I'm getting rusty these days. What's that up through? Is that dianthus or phlox? Yeah, dianthus. Okay, getting rusty. Another pop up here, but we want it to be not in the swale. We want it to be just above the swale, so all the water going through the swale doesn't go into our weeper pit. Another service barrier. We're gonna pull that off the house this direction. Want to make sure we get good positive grade established through here. Again, sloping away. We're gonna add a little bit in that back corner. I think that arb needs to come up. We're gonna move that. And then the final grade guys come in and do all that. Get some good pulverized topsoil in here. Of course, as you know, portable restroom, that's a thing you gotta have. Guys got a yard sign out. Keith was on top of that. Good job, Mr. Keith. And this is something I love seeing, so good job whoever did this. We've got something, a little tall marker here, so hopefully we don't smash into the well. Not that that's ever happened before, but we want to try to have something, you know, up so, you know, if somebody's backing up in the skid steer or just whatever the case is, we hopefully prevent a catastrophe of hitting that. These big hickory gray flagstone here, we're gonna be using those as a front. We're gonna install some new front steps, and then we're gonna put these and lay them out through the front yard here to the driveway. So real nice install here, looking real sharp, and we're moving ahead. So there we go. That's a few little things on a quick job site tour. Here we go.
So we've all got the contractor buddies that lose their minds if they're away from their team. And
I mean, in context, what other than maybe a little bit more organization and maybe a little bit more motivation, what difference is it going to make if I'm back there? We have the one truck, the one rig, a couple snow blowers. You know, we have the 8 sites that we manage, and then another 4 that we subcontract out, then 20, 30 residentials. The guys know the plan. The plan didn't change, you know, just because we got 12 inches of snow or 2 inches of snow.
Right.
You know, yes, I'd like to be back there. More labor is always helpful to throw it at the mountain of work to do.
Right. And yes, it may run a little more efficiently, but
yes,
you can't, if you want to grow your organization, you can't handheld and babysit like forever.
No. And I want to give them the opportunity to have fun. Also the opportunity to struggle, the opportunity to have some ownership in this. Hey, we did this. Like, I don't want to be there last minute riding like a white knight on the horse, you know, saying, hey, if it wasn't for me, this wouldn't have gotten done.
Right. Yeah.
That's not the case.